Thank you for having me today. My name is Loubna IMENCHAL, and I'm leading the region of AMENCHAL, stands for Africa, Middle East, Turkey, Central Asia, for enterprise business for Logitech, 72 countries, based out of Dubai.
So I am Harsh. I am from Emirates NBD. I am also adjunct faculty at Middlesex University. So I'm head of cloud security and compliance for the banks. I have a lot of experience around that domain. Looking forward to the panel.
Hi, I'm Ali, Group CIO of public listed group, started in London, Singapore and Nasdaq Dubai. We do interior contracting for 5-star hotels and for 5-star retail like Dolce & Gabbana and Chanel, Apple stores, and we do also super yacht. We have a group for interior of super yacht and private jets. Nice to see you.
Hello everyone, thanks for having us. I'm Ahmed Nabil. I'm heading the information security engineering cloud architecture for one of the leading banks in UAE based in Abu Dhabi.
Thank you. We can see a very diverse team over here, right from banking, going back to the service provider, technology service provider, coming back to the infrastructure, and I come from pharma manufacturing or healthcare. So it's going to be a very valid kind of discussion. Just to start about, so what are we talking about? We are talking about tomorrow's technology. Tomorrow's technologies all starts with planning, prioritization, then comes invest, implement, analyze the outcome and increase the adoption. These are the few primary areas we move on. So with this, I would like to hear more from, just to start off with Ali, how do you juggle this and how do you see this prioritization, investment, long-term, short-term, quick wins? How do we tackle these topics?
First of all, I just landed from Red Sea. I was a month away from my family. I think all of the audience are my colleague and friends, know almost everybody. I was like maybe for a month in Riyadh, and in Red Sea projects we are doing a lot of resorts, 16 different resorts at over there. And I was talking to the engineers and the project manager, the program managers over there, construction I'm talking about. And I want to highlight a very important thing that I think we as a CIO, we should look from the perspective of the business. With all this buzzword of AI and blockchain and metaverse and digital twin, we can talk a lot. But what's really matter at the end of the day is the bottom line. We are here to make money. Businesses are here for profitable business. So the revenue is the most important thing. So the IT should be really focusing on what's really adding value to the bottom line, what's really adding value to the business. And at that perspective, IT will become the most important department because we can add a lot of value, especially with all the new tools and the new technology. So IT is not an objective by itself. Nobody in my board care whether I'm using AI or I'm using blockchain or I'm using an old-fashioned DOS-oriented program. What's matter to me is I'm solving a problem. Is there a real case where with my technology, I'm adding value at the end of the day? So there is also another dimension, which is creating a secure environment for my business to operate, because I think our region is highly attacked and targeted in terms of cybersecurity. And another dimension is, as a public listed company, I have to comply with a hell of regulation to meet the internal audit and the external audit. So always one of the big four is in my office. I have to answer all their questions and give them the comfort from the technology perspective.
Thank you very much. The next question is to all of you, whoever feels comfortable can pick it up. See, we always talk about quick wins, right? And we are happy to demonstrate those quick wins. What I want to hear from you is how are you tackling the fail fast? Are you open to try out something, fail fast, learn from that and move forward? So how do you see this trend going in our industries?
I think I'll take this. So, as my colleague mentioned, it's all about aligning this with the business. I mean, we are not doing AI for the sake of AI. Although it's this new buzzwords everyone is following, we're not doing blockchain. It depends on the business and the real need of the business. Whatever works for banking, for example, blockchain might be helpful for banking or digital assets. On the other side, maybe retail, AI can help maybe for forecasting something. For example, medical, there might be some diagnosis. It depends on the business. That's why we need to start with the business itself. You mentioned something about short plans and long plans and investments. So another thing that we need also to think about with these disrupting and emerging technologies is that we can reprioritize a lot of times. Because a lot of things are happening, a lot of changes are coming. So if you maybe put a plan maybe for another 1 or 2 years, just be aware that you can reprioritize in the middle of this. A lot of POCs are there, a lot of test cases and use cases coming and emerging because it's still, I've just read recently that the compound annual growth rate for AI is more than 25-30%, which means it's still evolving and will evolve more and more. So define the strategy, put some kind of framework. We've seen a lot of frameworks coming, especially for AI, like the Agile frameworks. Have your frameworks, have your strategy, build use cases, and then welcome the partners and the whole ecosystem to get this tested in your environment.
I guess just another point is like the buy-in of the business and to try locate yourself with the top of the pyramid. For example, I hope IT is in the board or at least reporting to the CEO, trying to really get the buy-in from the ultimate decision making. That's really give a lot of support to trying new technologies. I think that's, again, the maturity of the organization and the maturity of the industry itself play a big role. It's not just, we cannot really generalize something to apply in everybody, but I think the role of the CIO or the role of IT and where it's really positioned play a big role in this.
In my point of view, I can see a bit differently. I mean, we were always talking about resolving problems. I believe we can move from the phase where we are here to serve and resolve issues to actually be in more predictive way, right? So, and AI will contribute to that one in all industries in my point of view, like healthcare, for example. We're gonna start talking about prediction of new disease instead of reacting to those diseases, longevity. And it's not my area of expertise. I'm just analyzing from what we are actually within our technology, trying to find how we can help each type of industry. And the requirement from each industry, we can see the trend is moving from resolving to actually predicting. Even in cybersecurity, like we start now talking about how AI can help to predict what will happen. And that's actually to go back to your question, that's actually what is tremendously impacting the current technology and the coming technology. It's more moving from the nice to have to the must to have, and how we can imagine the coming world instead of just resolving what we have as current issue. And that will be very surprising how we're gonna move so fast.
Thank you very much for sharing your perspectives. Very valuable. So just to add to this, in addition, I also think that what is more important and the need of the hour is we should also be too fast and too good in sharing the failure stories or as early as possible within the communities. I think this will help all of us. Thank you very much. Then going to the next topic, very specifically, if I go back to Harsh and Ahmed, you come from a banking industry, like pharma. It's also a very highly regulated industry where security, quality, compliance, country-specific regulations, global-specific regulations, we have these things. Right? And again, banking is also kind of an industry which has started adopting cloud technologies very well. And then when people are talking about AI everywhere, and without our knowledge, what is happening is cloud is also becoming everywhere. There are multiple, we are getting into the situation where we are having multiple cloud platforms. At the same time, not to forget, we also have legacy solutions, legacy systems going hand in hand. So looking at this, so how are you managing these challenges? What are the learnings you can share it with us?
So cloud, right? Cloud started off very differently from what it is today. And if you ask me, I have an infinite to-do list of things that I want to achieve in terms of cloud security. But let's be practical, right? Cloud security, again, if you go into a multi-cloud environment, which I believe everyone will have to, due to the reasons that technologies like A, B, and C are only given by product company A, and the real thing that you might want to use is given by, let's say, AWS, but it's not in the country, so you might have to settle for Oracle. I mean, eventually, multi-cloud is the reality, especially if you're a big organization. And what I see here is the interpretation of regulation is different. It's done differently by all of these cloud service providers, right? So it's going to be, it's not you, it's me, shared responsibility kind of loop that we are in. That what are the cloud providers really responsible for, and what are we as customers really responsible for? So bridging that gap is very important. The second thing is about visibility, right? It's like if you talk about visibility in cloud, you're going to need right tools, right? Otherwise, it's like finding needle in the haystack, but here the haystack is on fire and you are searching blindfold. So when you go at scale, it's not about what all can you see, what all can you monitor. It's more about finding what alerts are really worth waking up for at 2 a.m. Right? So that gap exists, and it's going to exist for the next few years because a lot of companies have made their fortunes by trying to bridge these gaps across cloud service providers.
So I think Salvat mentioned that, of course, my colleague, but I think the main challenge, problem with the cloud that we've seen across the last 4 or 5 years now, because cloud have been there for a long time, especially during the COVID time, is lacking some kind of the governance or the strategy for going cloud. The problem is that people, and now I'm afraid the same, that's why I mentioned the framework in the AI. Everyone is just going for the sake of technology, for the sake of buzzword. Cloud, let's go all cloud. AI, let's all try AI. Without having a solid strategy, without having where are you going to the cloud, what's your use cases, why are you leveraging the cloud, what's your exit strategy, if you have any problem with the cloud. Without having this, then whatever you're going to do is like an ad hoc work that might fail or might not be sustainable long time. Here in the region, of course, another main challenge, which is the compliance and the data sovereignty. It's very important here. And again, this is due to the nature itself of the cloud, because of the shared responsibility of the cloud and having a shared responsibility between us and the vendor, that makes it difficult for some compliance for the data, compliance for the several other regulations, and especially now with the data sovereignty, where a lot of countries in the region here are mandating having the data inside the country, or at least managed within your organization inside the country.
If you allow me, I have 2 points about cloud. First of all, I'm coming from the school that I believe cloud is not always the solution. Sometimes, for some cases, maybe building a data center and having my data in-prem is more feasible. It's not about only moving the capex into opex, but there are whether what my colleague Ahmed have mentioned about the regulation or about the cost of ownership. Right? If I'm going to keep my data for the retention policy, I have to keep my contract for 25 years, then the cost of the cloud will be really crazy. And it's way cheaper for me to build a data center. Another thing is, I think UAE have put a very ambitious strategy, which is cloud first, moving the government data 70%, I guess, to the cloud. And then they have faced a very big challenge, which is GDPR, or the Personal Data Protection Regulation, which says one of the 8 rights, the rights to be forgotten, for example. If somebody came to me and said, well, I resign from your group, and I want you to delete all my records from all your databases, it's impossible, because I have daily backup. And your records, your data, it's in tons of backup and snapshots and systems and database. Another writes, if somebody want to go to do, for example, and said, well, I want to practice my right of data portability. I want all my records from do, I want to go to Itisalat or vice versa. It's just not possible. Right? I cannot really derive all my data unless originally I design my application and they call it privacy in the design, which probably most of our ERPs and most of our systems doesn't care about that. So there is, in the regulation itself, there is challenges and difficulties, and that's why they are releasing new versions out of the GDPR, out of General Data Protection Regulation, which consider this kind of problems, because it's conflict with the concept of the cloud. And back to my point, like sometimes for some solution and for some industries where there is a huge volume and there is a retention policy which need the owner to keep the data for the long period, it makes more sense not to go to the cloud and maybe only for particular applications.
So for data portability, right? So for data portability, I actually recommend this to all the CIOs and CTOs that give your guys a challenge to actually move some workload from cloud A to cloud B, and then let's see how it turns out. Right? It's like cancelling a gym membership. It doesn't work. Right? You will service A is dependent on service B is dependent on service C. Or counterpart of service C is not available in the other cloud provider, so what do? So you end up paying bills at the both end without actually getting your work done. So if you are feeling bold enough, if you are feeling that you are at the top of your engineering game, give this task to your team and then find out what's what.
Thank you for sharing these challenges, right? And I am also very positive about it. I'm sure in the coming 6 months or 1 year, we will be having some use cases in these areas. I'm sure most of the other colleagues are also going through this, or the peers are going through this. Thank you for sharing this. Let's move to the next question. This is mostly to all of us, and let me start with Loubna first. Since you come from a technology service provider organization, would like to know from your point of view or from your organizational point of view, what are those top 1 or 2 disruptive technologies you are focusing on and how it is progressing? Is there something you would like to share more?
Yes, actually, as I mentioned before, in the organization that I work for, we are always, the first focus is to study how the coming generation will see the work, like how they want to work in their environment. And those type of questions we asked them like 45 years ago. That's why we are here today to sell some solutions that are adapted to people in hybrid work. So people, they think that the hybrid work, not all of course, but the majority they think that came with the COVID. It's not true. It's actually based on the generation that they don't want to be in the office 8 hours, 12 hours. They want to keep the hybrid work. We want to remote more. And that was coming either with COVID or not. And coming to your question today, we see that AI is interrupting, as I mentioned before, a lot of industries. And we're gonna see like cutting edges technology coming like 5G, 6G, which is we want real-time information, right? And that is impacting a lot all the other industries. So we will not be patient to actually wait for 1 minute to get the information. That will be that with my generation, I guess. So having said that, the second cutting edge generation I can see is like biotech. And the biotech technology is actually impacting the healthcare because we want to be in prediction rather than reaction mode. The third cutting edge technology I can say is the quantum compute. We're not talking about resolving instant issues. We are talking about multiple solutions for the same issue. And that is actually moving so fast. And I would say the fourth one, in my opinion, is to have sustainable, a green technology. And that would impact a lot of chain of production, coming from manufacturing side to the CTOs, CIOs, how they can integrate green technology. Because again, the coming generation wants to work in this environment, and we're gonna move the green technology from a nice to have, just to respond to some ISGs in the companies, to a must to have, to respond actually to
It's gonna be
the
mandatory.
way.
I think this year in May,
It's gonna be
mandatory. All public listed company has to generate the ESG reports.
Yeah, but again, that's driven by ESG reports. But
Right.
my point of view, everything starts with this, by the way. Diversity, inclusion, all start by this type of report. My point is that it will be impacted by the generation itself, that they will actually, even if they don't have an ESG report, they want to have this type of green energy, which is not coming from my generation X, for example. So we're so going so fast in cutting edge technologies, yeah.
I would love to share a few crazy things I have done. I think starting from 2018, we started putting an IoT devices on the helmet of the labor.
So we have 5 seconds, sir.
Okay, right, خلاص. Anyway, also I believe since everybody is talking about AI, blockchain is something really promising. There are a lot of use cases we have implemented in construction industry for mock-up. Instead of really building a real mock-up where the client has to travel from London to see the designs and see the colors and the carpets, they can really walk through it in what we used to call it VR many years ago. Now it's the metaverse. Another thing is digital twin. We have several cases. Maybe I shared last year about some failure of identity management using NFT because of regulation, where my compliance department came and shut down my project. But now, this year, we have some success stories where we really make sure that the data is fully encrypted and secured for all the identity on NFT, on a blockchain. So we are very excited about this and where the technology can take us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think the team will be available. You can talk to them and interact. The key takeaway is I think we should start talking more about sustainable and green energy, green technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.